America is like, what, 53 days away from electing a president. That's really not a long time. And there's concern among American voters that neither candidate is up to the task. That's right. A new CNBC poll says that 55% feel that Donald Trump is mentally unfit for the job, while 52% say that Joe Biden was not mentally up to the task. So, ladies, what can we make of this with a mere 7 weeks to go before Judgment Day? We'll start with Anna.
And you know, Joy, it's actually less than 7 weeks in some places, because in places like Florida, absentee ballots go out in a couple of weeks and people are going to start voting. Look, I think it's very concerning. But I don't understand how anybody can think there's an equivalence between Joe Biden's mental fitness. The man is coherent. He's not sending us out to inject bleach into ourselves. He is not holding multi-thousand people rallies packed like sardines in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. I was with Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff in Miami yesterday, and the care they are taking, the COVID measures that campaign is taking. So you won't see the same rallies you're seeing from Trump. What you're seeing are people who are taking a pandemic that has cost 190,000 lives seriously, respectfully, and civilly. Unlike the guy who I do think is unfit in every single way. Mentally, character, physically, intellectually, you name it.
Morally, ethically. How much time have we got left? But in fact, I see a lot of footage with him dragging his foot and his arms are going crazy. I don't know. People are not watching the same footage I'm watching. What do you make of the poll, though, Megan? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right, Joy. I mean, I think there's a huge enthusiasm gap right now that should be concerning to all of us right now. And I'm actually worried about it suppressing voter turnout. You're right. There are videos and clips going around of President Trump, like you said, the conspiracy theories about his health. Both of these men are almost octogenarians. And when you're in your almost 80s and you're running for president, it's going to take a different toll than when you're President Obama and you're in your 40s. I actually want to play a clip from Fox News last night that's getting a lot of attention with a surrogate from the Biden campaign.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
Brett, we are not going to engage. This is straight from the Trump campaign.
Yeah, they're using it.
And what it does, Brett, is it's trying to distract the American people.
I understand, but you can't answer the question.
Brett, I am not going to allow the Trump campaign to funnel their questions through Fox News and get me to respond to that.
So this is his surrogate just not answering if he's not using a teleprompter for interviews, which this normally wouldn't be a big issue, I don't think, because people use notes and prompters for different things. But when the narrative that the Trump campaign has been putting out is that Joe Biden can't get out of his basement, and then when he does, he's only doing softball interviews with prompters, this is the chickens coming home to roost. And if you are TJ Ducklo, who is a nice man by anybody's standard, you just can't say, hey, he was using notes, it's no big deal, pivot to what Anna just said about President Trump. You got to get off this narrative. And I'm personally worried that both of these candidates haven't had enough exercises, metaphorically speaking, to get ready for these debates. And if Joe Biden looks even a little bit unprepared, it's because they've kept him too insulated. And I think that's the concern, and that's maybe why this poll is growing.
Okay. All right. And so, Sunny, so are you worried about the poll?
Well, you know, I'm not a physician, and so I think it's inappropriate to opine about mental fitness. It almost feels crass to me, but I think you can opine about character fitness, and I think you can opine about leadership fitness. And let's face it, I mean, I think his record, Trump's record of failures in leadership as president shows that he's unfit. I mean, there are over 190,000 Americans that are dead due to his ineptness in handling the coronavirus. He lied to the American people. He calls military men and women losers. He calls, you know, African Americans and all sorts of names, and Latinos, all sorts of names. And I think his own cabinet members call him unfit. Mattis said to DNI Director Coates, Trump's dangerous. He's unfit. The president has no moral compass. Coates even said to him, a lie is not a lie. It's just what he thinks. He doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. These are people that know him, that served under him. So the fact that others don't seem to think that he's fit is bizarre to me. How could people still support
Sonny,
this president?
Sonny, they're talking about physically unfit. We'll have to see the polls that tell you whether he's morally unfit. Sarah, before we go, tell us what you think.
Well, I think what Megan alluded to about the lack of enthusiasm for either candidate concerns me purely because we need voter turnout for any election to work, to be successful, for change. But I think what Anna said was also important. I think it's a false equivalent to compare these two men and what voters are saying is mentally unfit. I think when people talk about Joe Biden, they're speaking, and I love Joe Biden. I've met him on a few occasions. I think what they mean is if you compare public appearances from even a few years ago, that the way he presents himself has changed slightly. Now, with President Trump, I think you're talking about his actual default settings, like the person he inherently is, and one scares me more than the other. I think the way President Trump operates, it doesn't lend itself to the collaboration that's necessary for any president to be successful, surrounding yourselves by the best of every field, leaning on those generals. And as we've seen with President Trump, there's been high turnover. People have left. Those very people that were in those inner circles are the ones saying he's mentally unfit. So between the two, I see the division, but I don't think you can compare the reasons behind that.
Okay. Well, I've met both of them, and I haven't seen Donald in years, it seems. But when I see him on television, he seems to be lumbering along. And then I see footage of Biden riding a bike and running. And I mean, I don't know what television station these people are watching. It must be that the Fox viewers must be seeing it different from everybody else.